Hello fellow fraggers, my name is FragProShooter, and today I just wanted to share a couple designs that I think would be really fun to have in Frag. I like how unique every new card is in Frag, like Stella, Marco Polo or Takeshi, but I still wanted to give my own ideas, so now enough talking, let's get into it. I wanted to start with this one because it's probably the one that has the biggest chance of happening. I think it doesn't really make sense that Longshot doesn't have an ult. And don't tell me that his zoom counts. I mean, Polar has one and he has also an ult, so it's definitely possible to have a zoom and another ult. So I think we should give him one. And the first thing that came to mind for me is the Penny Cannon in Brawl Stars. So I don't know if you guys know Brawl Stars, but Penny has kind of a cannon that shoots at long ranges. And since Longshot is a pirate and a sniper, it would fit in perfectly. It could work a little bit like a mini Soldatron that he can place like a scout and a T-turret. Now Iguori has kind of the same problem as Longshot. His ult is pretty much inexistent. And since he looks like someone from the desert, we could give him the ability to generate a sandstorm. The sandstorm could blind the attacking players that walk through it. It could also deal a little bit of damage and disorient the AI. So for example, the AIs that walk through the sandstorm could lose their attack command. So now I know what you're saying. What's the point of making them lose their attack command if they don't even follow it in the first place? Now moving on to the new card ideas, I would like to see a clown in Frag. The clown's design could look a little bit like the clown from Arms. I really like the design, so it could look a little bit like that. I think the game needs a little bit more randomness. So the main fire could shoot a projectile that deals a random amount of damage between 10 and 100. That could be really fun and just absolutely stupid to play. So I really want to see that happening. As an ult, she can drop something like surprise boxes that can open and stun enemies that get close to them. This card is a madman with a flamethrower that could act like Smoker's main fire with a little bit more damage. As an ult, he could block the tip of his flamethrower and explode, dealing damage to the cards around him, but killing him in the process, where the name Kamikaze comes from. This card wouldn't really be that good when played, but it could really be not that bad with AI if they design it very well, so that could be interesting. So even if I'm not that big of a hockey fan, I'm Canadian, so I feel the need to do this. We have basketball, baseball, boxing, football. The next one has to be hockey. Well, actually it could be soccer because soccer is more popular, but still, whatever. The hockey player would have a unique main fire that can shoot pucks that glide on the ground and ricochet off of walls. And as an ult, he could use a dash forward that's similar to quarterback, but they can send enemies flying or crush them on walls for extra damage. We may already have a Marco Polo, but it certainly wouldn't hurt him to have some competition. Our next card would be a butcher that wants the world to taste his burgers. As the main fighter, he could throw knives, and his ult could be to pull out his meat grinder and shoot ground beef everywhere for a ton of damage to the cards in front of him. I think it makes sense that if gods can join Frag, demons can too. So this card would look a little bit like our card, but would be maybe shorter and a little faster. It would have a close range weapon, and as an ult, he could grab any AI card in the game and make them join his own team for a couple of seconds. Now this camp card from prehistoric times could have a similar backstory as Hannibal. Now his design doesn't really need to be that complicated. He could just have a simple club for his main fire and throw a big spear in long ranges for his ult. Now in number 2 we have the Alchemist. This is a really unique card that would be really fun to play. This crazy scientist found a way to make potions that change your abilities. so he tests on himself. As an ult, he would have the ability to drink between 4 potions, with no cooldown. First potion would be Shield, which increases his HP but decreases his speed. His second potion would be Speed, which makes him faster but he deals less damage. Now his third potion would be Strength, which makes him deal more damage but he also will receive more damage. And the fourth one would be Neutral, which makes him go back to normal. And as a main fire, he could just throw fire potions that look a little bit like Genki's projectiles or BB projectiles. And now in number 1, the one card that I want the most in Frag is the Monkey. The Monkey from space, to be more specific. He could look a little bit like Laika and have a similar backstory. These cards need to be absolutely stupid. So what I came up with is an explosive banana with his main fire that when he shoots, he goes in the other direction. So that would make him very weird to play. But the best thing is, if he shoots below him in repetition, he will be able to fly. In a similar way to Jet, I would say, with her ult, but he doesn't have to actually hit the ground to go in the other direction. As an ult, he could just throw a giant banana that could look a little bit like a Big Paku ult, but he could also just shoot it at enemies that would look a little bit like a Marco Pollo ult or even the Big Paku. So there you go, these are my 10 favorite ideas for Frag. So guys, don't hesitate to put your own ideas in the comments, I want to know about them. And I hope you guys like this video, I will see you around.